My ex looked at him and said, "He's my son's real dad now." In my house. In front of everyone. No one said a word. Some of them just watched. My son stood up. He didn't sit back down. That's when I knew. Something was about to break. My name is Daniel Mercer. I'm 58 years old. It was my son's birthday. My yard. My table. My guests. And somehow, I was the only one who didn't belong. She brought him with her. Dressed like he owned the place. Within minutes, people were listening to him. Laughing at his stories. Then she said it. Slowly. Clearly. He finally has a real father now. She didn't look at me. She looked at them. Like she needed approval. I felt it. That shift. Like the ground just moved under me. But I didn't react. I never do. I just stood there behind the cake. Holding the knife. Waiting. That's when I felt a small hand move away from mine. I looked down. My son. Stepping forward. Not scared anymore. Decided. And I realized. I wasn't the one about to speak. I noticed it before I understood it. My son didn't go back to the other kids. He stayed close. Too close. Watching them. Not her. Not him. Them. My ex was still talking. Smiling. Performing. He stood beside her. Hand on her shoulder. Like a picture. People nodded. Listened. No one looked at me anymore. That was the first thing. The second, was my son. He wasn't angry. He wasn't crying. He was, focused. Like he was waiting. I leaned down slightly. "You okay, buddy?" He didn't answer right away. Just kept looking at them. Then he said, very quietly. "I remember things." I frowned. "What do you mean?" He shook his head. "Nothing." And walked away. That didn't feel like nothing. Not even close. I watched him cross the yard. Slow. Careful. Not running. Not playing. Thinking. That's when I saw it. The backpack. Small. Blue. The one he brought from his mom's house. He never brings it. Not on weekends. Not to my place. But today. He kept it close. Even now, he sat down near the fence. Unzipped it slightly. Checked something inside. Then closed it again. Like he was protecting it. I felt something shift in my chest. Not fear. Recognition. Like when you hear a strange sound in your house at night. And you know it's not random. You just don't know what it is yet. Behind me, I heard laughter. His voice. The stepfather. Loud. Confident. Telling a story about a deal. About money. People leaned in. Someone actually said, "That's impressive." I didn't turn around. I didn't care. Because across the yard. My son wasn't listening. He was watching. And writing. I saw it clearly now. A small notebook. Pulled halfway out of the backpack. His hand moving. Slow. Careful. Like he'd done it before. More than once. I walked a few steps closer. Not enough to scare him. Just enough to see. Lines. Dates. Short sentences. He closed it the second he noticed me. Too fast. Too practiced. "Hey," I said. "What are you writing?" He looked up at me. Calm. Too calm. "Just stuff I don't want to forget." Something in my stomach tightened. What kind of stuff? He glanced past me. Toward them. Then back at me. The truth. He said it like it was simple. Like it didn't weigh anything. Then he zipped the bag. Fully. Held it against his chest. Like it mattered. Like it was important. And that's when it stopped being a feeling. Stopped being a strange detail. It became something else. Something real. Because kids don't say things like that. Unless they've seen something they shouldn't have. I straightened slowly. Looked back toward the table. They were still talking. Still smiling. Still pretending. But now. Something didn't fit anymore. And I couldn't unsee it. It didn't stop with the notebook. Once I noticed it. I couldn't ignore it anymore. My son wasn't just watching. He was tracking. Every time they spoke. He looked up. Every time they moved. His eyes followed. Not like a child. Like someone collecting evidence. I stayed back. Pretended I didn't see. But I started watching him. The way he was watching them. And then I caught the first real detail. The stepfather laughed. Loud. Confident. Put his hand on my son's shoulder. Come here, champ. My son didn't move. Not even an inch. He didn't pull away. Didn't react. He just stayed still. Then slowly stepped back. One step. Enough to break contact. That wasn't discomfort. That was control. A few minutes later. My ex called him over. Come say thank you. Her voice changed. Softer. But forced. My son walked up. Polite. Quiet. Said the words. Then came back. Straight to the same spot. Near the fence. Near the bag. He didn't join the other kids. Didn't eat. Didn't laugh. Just watched. And wrote. That's when I realized something worse. This wasn't new. He knew exactly what he was doing. I moved closer again. Careful. Slow. This time, I saw more. Different pages. Different dates. Not just today. Not just yesterday. Months. Maybe longer. Short entries. Simple lines. Like. He said he would come. Pause. He didn't. Another page. Mom told me not to tell Dad. My chest tightened. I stepped back before he noticed. Too much. Too fast. But now the pattern was there. Clear. Repeated. Promises. Broken. Words. Contradicted. And one more thing. Silence. His silence. I looked across the yard again. The stepfather was still talking. Still performing. Now showing something on his phone. Pictures. Cars. Houses. People leaned in again. Nodding. Impressed. My ex stood beside him. Smiling like everything was perfect. Like this was the life she wanted people to see. And suddenly. It all made sense. Not the truth. The image. They weren't building a life. They were building a story. And my son. Was writing the real one. I turned back toward him. He was still sitting there. Still calm. Still focused. But then something changed. A small thing. Easy to miss. He stopped writing. Looked up. Straight at me. Held my for a second. And then. He nodded. Not like a kid. Like someone confirming something. A decision. Already made. That's when I felt it. Not confusion. Not doubt. Something heavier. Like the moment before a storm breaks. Because whatever he had been collecting, whatever he had been writing, it wasn't just memories. It was building toward something. And I had a feeling. He wasn't going to keep it to himself much longer. It happened in pieces. Not loud. Not dramatic. But clear enough that I couldn't ignore it anymore. I walked over to him again. Slow. Careful. Show me. He hesitated. For the first time. He looked unsure. Then he unzipped the bag. Just a little. Pulled the notebook halfway out. Didn't hand it to me. Just opened it. One page. That was all. I leaned in. September 12th. Mom said don't tell Dad he stayed over again. My throat went dry. I didn't move. Didn't react. Who stayed over? I asked quietly. He didn't answer. Just flipped the page. October 3rd. He was here when I woke up. Mom said he just got there. Another page. October 3rd. Later. They were laughing in the kitchen. She told me to go back to my room. Something cold settled in my chest. Not anger. Not yet. Recognition. I knew that timeline. I knew exactly when that was. We were still married. I swallowed slowly. Why didn't you tell me? He looked at me. Straight. Honest. You didn't ask. That hit harder than anything else. I exhaled slowly. Tried to keep my voice steady. How long have you been writing this? He shrugged. A while. Not specific. But I didn't need it. I could already see it. Page after page. Dates. Moments. Patterns. I glanced toward the yard. They were still there. Still talking. Still smiling. Like nothing had changed. But everything had. Because now. It wasn't suspicion. It was confirmation. And then he said something else. Quiet. Almost like he didn't want anyone else to hear. She tells him things about you. I looked back at him. What things? He hesitated again. Then. That you're not enough. The words landed heavy. Simple. Clean. Repeated. I didn't need to hear more. I already knew. But hearing it from him made it real in a different way. Not between adults. Not in court. In front of a child. Used as truth. I straightened slowly. My hands were steady. My face calm. But inside. Something had shifted. Because this wasn't just about disrespect anymore. It wasn't just about image. It wasn't just about her trying to replace me. This had been happening for a long time. Quietly. Carefully. Behind closed doors. And my son had been there the whole time. Watching. Recording. Remembering. I looked at him again. He was still holding the notebook. Still protecting it. Like it mattered. Like it had a purpose. Why today? I asked. He didn't answer right away. Just looked past me. Toward them. Then back at me. Because she said it out loud. That was it. That was the line. The one she crossed. Not the cheating. Not the lies. Not the manipulation. But saying it in front of everyone. Turning it into a performance. That's what broke it. That's what made it public. And now. Whatever was in that notebook. Was no longer private either. I nodded once. Slow. Controlled. Then stepped back. Because I understood something now. This wasn't my moment. It never was. And whatever was about to happen next was already in motion. I thought I understood it. I didn't. Not until he showed me more. Wait, I said. He stopped. Looked at me. Then slowly opened the notebook again. Different page this time. January 14th. Mom said if I tell Dad, he'll get angry and it will be my fault. My chest tightened. He turned another page. February 2nd. She said Dad doesn't need to know everything. Some things are better if he stays quiet. Another page. March 18th. I asked if I could tell Dad. She said no. She said it would hurt him. I felt something shift. Not anger. Something deeper. He flipped again. April 7th. He said I should call him Dad when we're outside. Mom said it would make things easier. My fingers curled slightly. But I didn't move. Didn't speak. He kept going. May 3rd. I told Mom I already have a dad. She got quiet. Then she said I don't understand how the world works yet. That one stayed in the air. Heavy. Wrong. I swallowed. Why didn't you tell me? I asked again. Not accusing. Just needing to hear it. He looked down. At the page. Then back at me. I tried. My breath caught. When? He hesitated. Then. You were fixing the go-kart. I remembered. That night. He stood in the garage doorway. Said he wanted to tell me something. I told him to give me a minute. Then another. Then I forgot. I nodded slowly. Anything else? He didn't answer. Just turned to the back of the notebook. Last pages. Messier. More recent. Today. This morning she said Dad will embarrass himself again. Another line. She said Victor will handle things. I felt something cold move through me. Slow. Controlled. Not explosive. Precise. And then the last line. Written darker than the rest. Pressed harder into the page. She said I should stay quiet today. Silence. Real silence. Not the kind from before. This one stayed. I looked up. Across the yard. She was still smiling. Still laughing. Talking to people like nothing existed beyond that moment. Like nothing mattered except how she looked. And him. Standing next to her. Confident. Relaxed. Like he had already taken my place. Like it was done. Like I was finished. I looked back down at my son. Small. Quiet. Holding that notebook like it was the only thing keeping him steady. They told you to stay quiet, I said. He nodded. And you didn't. He shook his head. No. His voice wasn't shaking anymore. It was clear. Certain. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just betrayal. Not just lies. Not just manipulation. They didn't just replace me. They tried to erase me. From conversations. From decisions. From my own son's mind. And they used him to do it. Quietly. Over time. Turning truth into something he wasn't allowed to say. Until today. I exhaled slowly. Long controlled. Because there was no going back now. No fixing this quietly. No pretending it didn't happen. Whatever came next. Was going to break something. And for the first time. I wasn't the one who started it. I didn't react. That was the first step. No anger. No scene. I closed the notebook gently. Handed it back to him. Keep it with you. He nodded. Held it tighter. I stood up slowly. Looked across the yard. They were still there. Laughing. Talking. Unaware. Good. I walked back to the table. Picked up the knife again. Started cutting the cake. Same motions. Same smile. Like nothing had changed. People relaxed. A few even laughed again. That was the point. Let them feel safe. Let them think it passed. I handed out slices. Plates. Napkins. Listened without listening. Watched without being seen. Patterns. That's all I needed now. Who stood with them? Who stayed neutral? Who avoided me? Information. I noticed how she moved. Who she spoke to first. Who she tried to impress. I noticed him. Always slightly in front. Leading conversations. Positioning. Control. He thought this was his moment. He was wrong. I stepped away briefly. Into the house. Closed the door behind me. Just enough silence. I took out my phone. Opened the Notes app. Not messages. Not calls. Notes. Clean. Quiet. Private. I started writing. Dates. Words I remembered. Phrases my son showed me. Stay quiet. Real dad. Don't tell him. Short lines. Clear. No. Just facts. Then I opened the camera. Not for photos. For video. I turned it on. Set it face down on the kitchen counter. Recording. Then picked it up again. Walked back outside. Casual. Unnoticed. I placed it near the drinks table. Angle low. Enough to catch voices. Not obvious. Then I stepped away. Back to the grill. Back to the roll. Someone called my name. I turned. Smiled. Answered. Normal. Always normal. That's how you stay in control. Across the yard, I saw my son. Still near the fence. Still holding the bag. But now. He wasn't watching them anymore. He was watching me. I gave him a small nod. Nothing dramatic. Just enough. He understood. Of course he did. He'd been understanding everything for a long time. I moved through the crowd. Slow. Deliberate. Refilling drinks. Checking the cooler. Listening. And then it happened. She said it again. Not as loud this time. But close enough. To be honest, he's never really been able to provide. Soft voice. But sharp. A couple of people nodded. One laughed quietly. I didn't turn. Didn't react. But I heard everything. The phone caught it too. That was enough. Not everything. Not yet. But enough to begin. Because this wasn't about proving something to them. It never was. It was about one thing. Clarity. And once you have that, you don't rush. You don't explode. You wait. You let them talk. Let them build their version. Let them feel comfortable in it. And then, you remove it. Piece by piece. Without raising your voice. Without losing control. I picked up a tray. Walked past them. Close enough to hear him this time. Kids need structure, he was saying. Real guidance. I paused for half a second. Just enough. Then kept walking. Inside. Everything was already set. Not loud. Not visible. But ready. Because whatever came next wasn't going to be chaos. It was going to be precise. And no one in that yard had any idea it had already started. I didn't call for attention. I didn't need to. I just spoke a little louder than normal. Hey. A few heads turned. Then more. Conversation slowed. Not stopped. Just enough. I stood near the table. Calm. Steady. Holding my phone. I think we should all hear this. That did it. Silence spread. Not fast. But inevitable. My ex looked at me first. Confused. Then annoyed. What are you doing? I didn't answer. I tapped the screen. Turned the volume up. And placed the phone on the table. At first, nothing. Just background noise. Voices. Then her voice. Clear. To be honest, he's never really been able to provide. A shift. Small. But real. A couple of people glanced at each other. My ex stiffened. That's out of context. I raised a hand. Not at her. Just, up. The recording continued. He tries, but that's not enough for a child. Someone behind me exhaled quietly. Another voice followed. His. Kids need structure. Real guidance. Now the silence was complete. Heavy. Uncomfortable. My ex stepped forward. Turn that off. I didn't move. Didn't even look at her. I just let it play. Then I picked up the notebook. My son's. The one he never let go of. Until now. I didn't open it right away. I let them see it. Let them recognize it. Then I spoke. September 12th. My voice didn't shake. Mom said don't tell Dad he stayed over again. A ripple moved through the crowd. My ex froze. Completely. I turned the page. October 3rd. He was here when I woke up. She shook her head. No. That's not. I kept reading. Mom told me to go back to my room. Now people weren't just listening. They were watching. Her. Not me. Her. The smile was gone. The control was gone. What is this? She snapped. Her voice broke at the edges. I looked at her then. Finally. Calm. This is what you didn't think anyone would hear. She stepped closer. Too fast. Trying to take control back. Give me that. I stepped aside. Just enough. She stopped. Realizing. Everyone was watching. He moved then. The stepfather. Trying to step in. This isn't appropriate. I tapped the phone again. Another clip. His voice. It's better if the boy starts calling me dad in public. That one landed. Hard. Someone in the back said, wait, what? My ex turned toward him. Eyes wide. Angry now. You said you deleted that. He didn't answer. Just stared at the phone. Like it betrayed him. Good. Because now. They weren't in control of the story anymore. The room shifted. You could feel it. People stepping back. Creating distance. Not physical. Social. And then I did the only thing that mattered. I stepped away. I didn't argue. Didn't explain. Didn't raise my voice. I walked past them. Straight to my son. Knelt down. Put the notebook back in his hands. It's yours, I said quietly. He nodded. Held it tight. Behind me. I could hear it. The pressure. Voices rising. Questions. Her trying to explain. Him trying to interrupt. Nothing landing. Nothing working. Because once the truth is out, you don't control how it spreads. And for the first time that day, they felt it. Not doubt. Not discomfort. Loss. Control slipping. Fast. And there was nothing they could do to stop it. No one stopped me. Not her. Not him. They were too busy talking. Too fast. Too loud. Trying to fix something that was already broken. I didn't look back. I just stayed with my son. Sat beside him. Calm. Like nothing needed to be said anymore. Behind us, voices kept rising. Explanations. Excuses. No one listening. Because the room had already decided. Not with words. With distance. People stepped away from them. One by one. Quietly. That was enough. I didn't need more. A few minutes later, he left first. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't look at anyone. Just walked to his car and drove off. She stayed longer. Trying. Failing. Then she left too. Alone. The yard felt different after that. Lighter. Quieter. Real again. My son looked at me. Are you okay? I nodded. Yeah. He hesitated. Then smiled. Small. But real. Can we finish the cake? I let out a breath. Almost a laugh. Yeah. We can do that. We went back to the table. No speeches. No attention. Just cake. Later, when everyone had gone, we sat in the garage. The go-kart between us. Tools scattered. Normal. Dad, he said. Yeah. Thanks for not yelling. I looked at him. For what? He shrugged. Because you didn't have to. I nodded slowly. He was right. But that was the point. I didn't need to. Because some things don't require noise. They require timing, clarity, and control. I spent years thinking I had lost something. Respect. Place. Voice. Turns out, none of it was taken. It was just being tested. And the truth? It doesn't need to fight to be seen. It just needs one moment. The right one. Thank you for listening. Calm justice doesn't shout. It keeps records.